Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm prepared. Totally prepared, was absolutely ready for the start of this
Anyone
episode.
watching YouTube would know that Jake was 100%
No, I was ready.
Jake was in the zone.
I was like,
he's
poised.
He's in the zeitgeist.
I'm in the headspace.
He's in the mainstream.
I am in the mainstream.
You
That has
are
been a
in
problem.
the
I've been accused of.
You're not popular out there.
There are
It's
certain
safe to
groups, I
say.
think it's safe to say, that do not like me.
I wouldn't go to any like Russell Brand events.
I'll tell you now, I will not be visiting, what's his name, Epstein's Island.
No.
I don't think I'd be welcome
partly
there.
he's dead now, so.
But the island still exists.
Yeah, but I don't think anything's going on there. It'd be a bit on the
I
nose.
don't know. To know.
Do you reckon it's just continued
I mean,
on?
do you know where it is?
No, not really.
No, so why?
I'm assuming it's off the coast of somewhere.
Yeah, but you know where?
I mean, I would imagine America.
To know. I fancy it being a little
Maybe
Pacific one, but it might
Bermuda?
it's probably more. Yeah, it's probably more in the Atlantic. It's probably in the
Yeah.
in that little kind of like.
Yeah. I mean, really, we should know. I should know as a conspiracy theorist where Epstein's Island is.
You should. I feel like a lot of your followers probably.
You reckon they do?
I reckon a few have had an invite.
Do you know what? I'm far more comfortable, weirdly, with the new image of me that you like to portray of the conspiracy theorist. I'm alt rather than the misogynist. He hits women. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think I ever said you hit women. I think you're
You
adding that. I
implied it.
think you're adding.
It was implied, bro.
I don't know. It sounds like you're saying an awful lot right now.
I'm just worried about being accused. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think you need to
What
worry.
do I do?
I don't think you need to worry. I think you've got them women well trained. They'll never speak on you.
I couldn't confirm or deny that.
They know.
And Leanne, if you're watching, please don't hit me.
Baby, please.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
It's just a joke. We're riffing.
It's just bants.
It's just bant.
It's just ha 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 banter.
I think that can be applied to any time we're saying anything controversial. Just apply bants at the end. I feel like legally,
That's our get out clause.
legally you're sorted then. It's like when you yell surprise.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like the judge reads some absolutely horrendous thing you've said, and you're like, you're on a. If you wouldn't mind concluding the transcript, bants. Oh, I rest my case, Your Honour. I rest my case.
Yeah.
It was all bants. It was all in the name of
Clearly
fun.
for comedic effect.
It was all in the name of good
Sweet mother
jest.
comedy.
And you know, comedy is alive. Elon's told us that on the app. Comedy's back. Comedy's back from the dead.
Yeah. Speaking of Elon, did you see one of his most recent tweets? Something about only eating 0.4 donuts because then his mind can rationalise it to 0 donuts.
What? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Does he tweet it?
Yeah.
I saw him doing the thing about shooting his rifle from the hip.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, yeah.
That's not a euphemism. Like he took a picture of himself
Well,
with
he
a
has a
rifle.
lot of
I mean,
children.
yeah.
It seems to me like he shoots from the hip.
None of them like him.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
Imagine having like one of the world's richest parents, and all to get all that sweet cashola on the inheritance, you just have to suck it up and pretend
There's
to
no
like
way
him.
he leaves it behind for them.
And you can't even do that. You hate the man so much you can't even suck it up to get a few billy.
He clearly, whatever you want to say about the man, he's smart enough to make a lot of money, but he's also dumb enough to lose a lot of money. So I don't know whether he's actually going to have enough left to inherit when he's gone.
It's that thing, that old joke. What's the quickest way to make $1 million? To inherit $1 billion.
Yeah.
And the idea that you just spunk it all away. Bad investments, all that stuff. He's the living embodiment and epitome of it. 'Cause he's done it. He took a $44 billion company.
Yeah.
Within a year, 2 years since he took it over. I think it's down to about $8 billion it's worth.
Yeah, it's all right. It's pocket change
it's
for
good
people
money.
like them, innit?
It's good money, but that's
It's not a great
it's
return
a
on
drastic
investment.
drop. It's a huge, yeah.
Yeah. But he did it for the free speech, bro.
Did it for the comedy. Nazis are back. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, dangerous territory.
Do you know what's really upset me recently?
People who say Nazis are on the left.
No, I've been doing some tweets or commenting on tweets and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I've been getting a few likes here and there.
Sure.
All of them are bots.
Oh, the cam girls.
Oh, yes.
The sex girls.
What is going on with that?
Do you know what? It's so crushing because there's a little moment of like
Yeah.
euphoria
Yeah.
when you get a like and you don't recognise the person. You're like,
Yeah.
shit, a stranger has
Finds
engaged
me
in my
funny.
thing. This
Yeah.
is good. And then you open it and you're like, come on, man.
I had 3 likes on one of the comments I made. All of them were cam girls. And I was like, come on, man.
It's horrible. It's
I don't even
crushing.
think they're real cam girls. I think they're just bots.
It's got. What the fuck
And
do I
they've
give my
all-
credit card to?
They've all got the same, like, form of, like, description as well. Like, they're
Yeah, yeah,
either
yeah.
an artist or I'm a soulful searcher looking for the one to spend my life with or something like. It's always a derivation of that.
I never even get that far. I just see like the,
Well, no,
the
when you
general
look at
setup
who's
of the
liked
profile.
it has it under their name.
Yeah, I just look at the general setup. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, God,
And every time
fooled
I'm like,
again.
God damn
Fooled
it, man.
again.
Yeah. Nobody likes us.
They really don't
Well,
like me.
They like me.
They really don't like me.
Yeah.
Hi guys. Hi internet.
If they're watching.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, while we're talking about listeners, we talked a lot about how the numbers were brilliant last week, but what we didn't actually do was say thank you to the audience.
Well, I mean, you've got reason to.
No, but also
I don't know if
core
I've got reason
listenership
to.
it's starting to grow a little bit. We're getting more and more downloads every week, more and more views on YouTube, which is really encouraging.
There's a bit of crossover from the Gary Neville fans tuning in.
I don't think they're fans of Gary Neville.
I don't think anyone's a fan of Gary Neville.
No, I think there's definitely a lot of Valencia fans that hate you, just based off appearances.
I'd be fine with that. You know what? I don't know who Valencia's big rivals are,
Well, yeah, I don't know enough about Spanish geography.
but I could, I could be like Malaga FC or something, big 'em up,
yeah,
Sevilla or something.
you could be on to something, but I don't know enough. But what I do know is that Malaga aren't in the same division.
No, wait, which were the ones that signed Mason Greenwood?
Oh, Getafe.
Right, we're safe. That's fine. I'm not going to support them.
No.
But the others, yeah, I can get on board with.
Yeah, I can't remember what Getafe did the other day, but they responded to something like I think like someone got hit or someone hit a woman or something like that, and they like condemned it, and it was like, really?
Brilliant.
Yeah. Do you reckon they just don't know?
Maybe they gave him a
Do you reckon
contract
no
afterwards.
one's told him. No one's told them.
I'd quite like it if it did. It would make it for a good sitcom moment.
If the guy that runs a club just doesn't watch the news ever,
Yeah,
and he's just like, I can't believe we got this wonder kid from United on loan.
just letting him go. Like,
Yeah,
can't
like,
believe
what's
it.
going on here?
Yeah, that'd be good.
They're even renting him a place to live in for us.
So if no, because I'm a poor person to start with. I was going to say, so if I just go around treating women like shit,
You also
will
need
be
to be able to kick a
rewarded.
football quite well. And
I
with
can
all
kick
due
a
respect,
I can kick a football.
I've played football with you, and look, I've heard you've made
I
improvements.
can kick a football.
Andrew is very quick to big you up in football. I don't know what you've done to
Not
earn that
this
level,
season.
because that's not really his cup of tea.
What compliments?
Yeah.
It's true.
So you must have improved. I imagine just on fitness alone, that's improved your mobility, your ability to get up and down the pitch.
Do you know I read an interesting thing from Camavinga the other day?
Yeah.
I thought it was really nice. It was quite humble because he said that he's improved his own game greatly by watching the French league. He said, and there's a player, and I can't remember who it was and who they played for, but he said he noticed that whenever they tackled, they went down on one knee to tackle
Okay.
so that they were in a better position to get up quicker and
Rather than slide.
react rather than slide. And he said, and I've started doing it, and I've just noticed such an improvement. But I thought it was really nice, rather than just saying,
To address
yeah,
it.
I've improved, but to say, no, that guy, I'm just copying that guy. I thought it was really nice.
That's what some of the best players do, isn't it?
Yeah,
They take a
big
little
up.
bit of this, bit of that, but they don't always acknowledge it.
Yeah,
So
to
no,
give
it's
them the
nice.
credit, it was quite nice.
Yeah.
And it didn't really matter because I've forgotten the player anyway.
I want to do, just quickly off the bat, every now and again like to do a bit of Palace business.
Sure.
And
Sure.
last night, time of recording, a legend had a legendary moment. It was really nice to see.
It was beautiful, right?
Yeah, I don't know anyone who could be annoyed other than United fans, obviously. But in terms of Palace, as a Palace fan, it was just lovely.
I felt like a parent.
Yeah, I can understand that because, I mean, my first season as a season ticket holder was like his real breakthrough season in the Championship. So like having watched him from then to now, and he left the club in a good way. Like there wasn't any animosity, and he left it saying, "I want to play in the Champions League. This is like the thing I want to tick off," and he did it. And not only against a team that gets beaten over his head as to why he's not a good player because he didn't make it at United. Well, that's a list of players that's growing daily. But to go against them at their ground and score.
What I really like about it,
And it was
is
his Champions League debut, wasn't it?
is the poetry of Palace. No, he got an assist. Oh, was that in the league? I think it was in the Champions League in the last round.
Okay, fair enough. So it was a second.
It was like not the best, but he got to the byline down the left, beat his man, and then put what I would describe as not a great ball into the box that just kind of floated towards the back corner. Yeah. And what happened is the guy just hit an absolute rifle out of it. And it was like, I don't want to take it away because it goes down as an assist on paper. But no offense to Wolf, but that is all the goals.
Well, it's like the guy that there's a famous Messi goal where he gets it at like the halfway line, and there's a player just before he starts that just taps it to him about 2 yards, and he gets an assist because Messi just ran through 11 players and tapped it into the goal.
Yeah, but it was nice that on Saturday, Palace beat United at United, got 3 points, nice. And then, he didn't have to miss out because a few days later, Wilf
does it again.
Beat United at United, got 3 points, so Palace and Wilf, all in the space of a few days, got the same result. It was really nice.
And what I also liked was
good goal as well.
In the interviews in and around and afterwards, you could see he's still the shy South London boy. Do you know what I mean? He's still not too big for himself. He wasn't over the top. He was very understated and just really happy to be there.
Yeah, really happy to be there.
So, I was really pleased for him, and I hope it really genuinely goes well for him.
Me too. I still love him. I've got a lot of love for Wilf. Always will have.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a swords crosser.
He's a sword crosser. Wilf's a sword crosser.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Big of like busting round Istanbul with his Lambo, busting out the crossing swords. What do you think is the nicest speaker we've come out of?
It's interesting because we've reached America and we've reached a few different countries, so there's going to be a variety out there. I don't think a Lambo.
Do you reckon we've come through like Beats?
Definitely been through Beats.
Mm?
Yeah. I don't know if Lambo's as high as you can go. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a bit too high.
Like a nice Chevy or something. Like a nice...
Maybe a Merc. A nice...
Second-hand Merc.
Yeah. Still a good car. Still 15 grand, but
it was just a passing thought. What do you think is the nicest set of speakers?
Who knows? Maybe the King. We've done a few episodes on the monarchy.
Which King?
Our King.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. He listened to it. He listened to it enough to fucking block the.
Learn some fucking respect.
To copyright the national anthem.
Look.
So he's obviously watched it. And he was like, "That's my song."
I respect the hustle. Do you know what I mean? You got
making his peas, making his
hard times, man. Cost of living,
making them stacks.
You cannot begrudge him making a crust.
No, man's got to get paid.
Do you know what I mean? And his mum just died. He's just been hit by inheritance tax.
Tough place. Yeah, brothers and nonce.
Yeah,
tough times.
It's tough times. They're probably still having to do other payouts, allegedly.
They're still having to pay off these other women.
Yeah, allegedly.
But it's fine because it's you. As you know,
he doesn't sweat.
It's cheaper to pay children, so you're paying a lower. You're paying a lower rate.
Yeah. They're worthless as well.
This is a good start. We've gone really strong with the intent.
Yeah, and this was none of this.
Not even close.
No.
Not even close to what I thought. But that's the thing when we start. We never have anything we think we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
and we've come up with some oddities.
Talking of like scummy aristocracy, should we talk about the Tory conference?
I thought you were going to talk about my butler.
He's not scummy. He's salt of the earth.
He's a victim. He's a victim of the system.
Yeah, he's a victim of the patriarchy for sure.
What did you say?
What you were going to say.
Yeah, I nearly. What did you? Should we talk about the Tory conference? You're going to say?
Yeah.
Yes, I've got so much to talk about the part of the Tory conference.
I've got a couple of clips that we can watch as well.
So,
or not, we can listen to. Rather.
I've got this is the Tory party conference,
guys.
These are just bullet points of what's happened. I've got to go through it.
This is breaking news. Where is it?
That's all. Part of the Tory party conference. I'm an old pad. I'll go through the list. Do you want me to keep going through the list?
Yeah, please do.
I mean, the professionalism is off the scale.
Right, are you ready? Guys, this is not a drill. Jake's done prep.
I've done prep. I've done my prep. So,
yeah,
where do you want to start with it?
Dealer's choice.
Okay, well, let's start on this. Something a bit light-hearted, I think. Did you see Sophie Ridge for Sky News interviewing Claire Coutinho who is the Energy Secretary.
I've watched a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of names.
I'll say two words, and you'll either say yes or no.
Okay.
Meat tax.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
And
where she tries to question her on the meat tax,
basically,
and she just waffles.
Sophie Ridge just properly sort of pushes her on it.
Yeah.
She's like, Labour want to, we've saved. She went, but you're talking about saving us from the meat tax. She said, what meat? Who was going to introduce the meat tax? And she went, no, well, there's a lot of challenges. She was like, forget the challenges. Yes, there are a lot of challenges, but you've specifically mentioned a meat tax. Who was going to introduce the meat? And she just does not let it go, and she just waffles.
Yeah.
It's good, right?
It's brilliant. Honestly, there's so much from this conference. Like, none of it, like, there's no meat on any bones. There's no, like, here's how we're actually going to help you. It's all stirring up hatred. It's all trying to cause division, whether it's immigration. And what I didn't expect, and I'm sure we'll get onto it, is what Rishi did in his speech as well.
And Suella Braverman a little bit. I presume we're thinking the same thing. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
So let's just go through it. So immigration. Suella Braverman said that there was a hurricane of illegal immigrants heading to Britain. Christian Murthy, I think, did really well when he was talking to. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he mentioned the hurricane. And he said, "Is there a hurricane?" And the woman went, "Well, it's not the word I'd say, because hurricanes are very strong, powerful words. Hurricanes destroy a lot of things. They cause a lot of destruction and death.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of damage, damage to people, damage to homes, damage to the economy. They're strong, they're unstoppable." He said, is that a fair word to use? It's like, look, well, she uses her own language, and it's like, not good. My favourite thing, I think, about the whole thing was HS2.
Yeah.
Going to Manchester, which is where they held the conference, to announce that the high-speed train from London to Manchester will now not go
from London to
Manchester. It actually will go, as it stands, from just outside London to Birmingham. Just to clarify, the Birmingham to Manchester track of the train, there will still be a train from London to Manchester, and like a new train, but it will run on old lines from Birmingham to Manchester, and they are still planning on extending the route from Old Oak Common down to Euston. So they are still planning on going from London to Birmingham. Rishi, in his speech, promised that the £36 billion that they were going to invest in HS2 will now be spent entirely, and we've heard this before, entirely on transport upgrades in the North and the Midlands.
I actually think that's probably one of the smartest things he's promised, actually.
Never going to happen. Speaking of promises, did you see Michael Gove's little speech?
I didn't.
Now this, I've got to find it here because it's absolutely brilliant. Michael Gove claimed Brexit has been delivered, and I'm not joking, I really wish I was. And he said, and we now have an extra £350 million a week for our NHS. Pause for applause, and he genuinely did like a little, come on, yeah, clap. And then he said, promise made, promise delivered. Now, I think we all agree that was one of the biggest lies told during the
what world are
referendum.
they living in?
The fact that he's brought it back, I think it's quite bold. It's quite bold.
We delivered this. You should be proud.
Oh, do you remember that thing that we promised that was never going to happen?
Yeah, that we haven't delivered.
That was a bit of a joke. Yeah, well, we're going to do it.
Yeah. Pigs are flying, guys.
Yeah, well, who called them out for it? I think Krishna Gurumurthy, again, actually, in the thing where I said about him challenging the hurricane thing, he also, in the same interview, he said that it's like living in America. He said, in terms of the Trumpism, he says, we just say whatever we want.
Yeah.
No essence of truth, no hint of it, no challenge. They are being challenged, but they just don't care.
No, I think one of the problems is, and I think some journalists are trying to push back, and for some reason it seems to be small county BBC radio hosts that seem to do it the most for some reason. They actually seem to hold the integrity of the BBC.
And they go on there thinking they're going to get an easy ride.
Yeah, and they get absolutely eviscerated by someone who they probably looked down on walking into the interview and walked out of hating them. But they're just not getting held to account enough.
Because Rishi also said in his speech, it's time for a change. My man, you've been in charge for the
Yeah.
last, not you personally, but you've been in charge for 2 years now, a year.
He's been in government for a long time.
And the party have been in charge for 13 years. So
Yeah.
saying we need, it's time for a change. Vote Conservatives. Vote for the fuckers who have been in charge for over a decade
Yeah.
because they're going to change even though they've been, it's
Yeah.
what the fuck.
You can trust these people.
I'm going to throw a few of the committed policies,
Yeah.
and obviously none of these things are necessarily going to come to fruition, at you, and I want you to tell me how you feel about them.
Okay. Please do.
Jeremy Hunt's commitment to raising the minimum wage to £11 an hour.
It's not enough.
Solid. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, we'll go for that.
It's not enough. I'm not that far off of that now anyway, and I don't earn enough currently. So no, it's not enough.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I think it should probably be closer to £15 an hour for most jobs, or for all jobs.
Yeah. Life means life for sadistic and sexual murderers. Basically, no parole, tougher sentencing.
Fine with that.
Committing to a parliamentary vote to raise the smoking age, suggesting that they're going to raise it by 1 year for every year.
Yeah.
So starting at 18, so we'll say we're going to make it 19, then next year it'll be 20, and going up until no one can smoke.
It's quite interesting.
Or, in my eyes, they get to a point when they go, well, this is high enough. And then, do you know that one person who now is officially too old for Lego?
Yeah.
So they have their 99th birthday, their 100th birthday.
Yeah.
They can no longer buy Lego because they're only like 7 to 99.
Yeah.
And in the stress of it,
They can't even have a
they
cigarette.
they can have a cigarette because they're the only person in the country left who's allowed to buy one.
Yeah.
But they've got a
But
photo
to be
ID.
fair, that still gives me... I mean, by the time it gets to the age I am now...
Oh, you'll be fine.
I'm
Anyone
then
who
gonna be
smokes
in my
now,
50s.
it's fine.
Do you know what I mean?
Anyone who smokes now,
To
it'll
be
be
honest
fine.
with you, it's probably not a bad thing. Like, I don't like the idea of a government, particularly when they're fine with things like alcohol and stuff like that. I just find it a worrying trend in general that, like, smoking fine, but I feel like we have a negative attitude towards other drugs and other substances, but fine with others.
And how do you feel about the fact that because he's no longer aligned to another political party, that Nigel Farage has been swanning around at the Tory party
Yeah,
conference
it's not-
and going down very well
Yeah.
by all accounts? He cuts a popular figure at the conference.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not surprising. He's always come across like a bit of a Tory. He's quite happy to fuck the country over repeatedly, a bit like a Tory. And
He only left because of the in 90. I think he left the Tory party in 97 or 96. So it might have been in the 97 elections.
yeah,
Might have been a little bit before that. But he left because the Tory party's stance was not
extreme enough.
well. It was not. It was all about the EU.
Mm,
His whole, as we know, he's booked his whole career out of leaving the EU.
yeah.
And the Tory party at that time, their stance was to remain in the EU.
Yes.
And that's why he left and bounced around from party to party, setting up parties and leaving parties.
Yeah.
But now he could be back.
He likes to party hard. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think the overall theme from this Tory conference for me was that it was just a big who's going to be the next leader of the Conservatives for me.
Who do you think came out well then? Who do you think is going to be? Could be Farage.
I mean, potentially.
I
I don't think so.
One of the political commentators said.
I don't think he's seen as an actual political operator, if that makes sense.
No, but one of the Tories did say, I think he was one of the backbenchers, said, I genuinely believe, based on the mood of the conference, from what I've been experiencing, that if they were to vote now, he'd stand a bloody good chance of
being
winning the vote.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one man's opinion.
Don't see him becoming
specific
leader.
moment.
I think it's too... I mean, it depends, really. I think it's going to be a 50-50 thing when the Conservatives lose, because it's still basically the numbers say that they are going to lose. It's just a matter of what
Who
the
do you think
margin
will?
will be. Well, I think it's a 50-50 shot of like what direction they go in. Either the party decides to reinvent itself as a more centrist party again and less far right as it is now, or it will double down on the far right, thinking that that's the way to go, that division's always worked. And that's what I fear. I think it's probably going to be Suella.
I really hope not, and I will get into why.
No, I completely
we
get,
already
but
asked.
I think based off of how things are trending at the moment, and with even what the direction Rishi Sunak took today in his speech, it feels like that's the direction the Conservatives must be going in, because otherwise it wouldn't be what he's pushing, and it wouldn't be what Suella's pushing. And they must see some sort of data that there's a sizable amount of people that they can reach and make work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Farage feels too extreme. Pretty Patel's mentioned. She seems too much out of the.
She praised GBBs.
Oh no, I've got that as a clip.
Have you?
Yeah. Should I play that?
Sure. I think why not? Give the people what they want.
Let's check on.
To welcome some more friends here tonight. Our friends that are here, the newest, most successful, most dynamic, no-nonsense news station, and the defenders of free speech. That is my friends at GB News.
Okay. That answers my question.
Well, you were wondering who it was.
No, I don't know if we got an invite to the... Is that going to be aimed at us? Just play it again and just see if it describes us, just from the start. And I want the listeners to do this. Just listen.
We also want to welcome some more friends here tonight. Our friends that are here, the newest, most successful, most dynamic, no-nonsense news station, and the defenders of free speech. That is my friends at GB News. Thank you for everything that
I
you do.
mean, you know.
Just incredible. Honestly, just incredible.
Just incredible.
On any other day, I'm wondering whether we should get that as a soundbite. Her just saying, just incredible.
Just incredible.
No, do you know what we should get as a soundbite? And I'm not going to...
And we should only use it when someone gives a really shit idea. Just incredible.
And I don't want to... Well, no, we should get that and. Why is it an either or? Come on, guys. That and I don't want to talk about it because obviously we'll do an episode where it will be discussed, I've no doubt. But from the VAR process in Liverpool, Tottenham, just that
great process, guys.
Good job, boys. Great process.
Yeah.
I think we should have that so that whenever we feel happy with something we've done or said.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about talking about that today, but can I be completely honest with you? I don't really care enough.
I think it deserves more weight, personally, as well. I think it deserves another opinion.
But yeah, no, it's just Liverpool. Who cares? But I actually like Scousers, but just not the football club. So make of that what you will.
You heard him.
So I'll be popular with the Everton fans.
Finally, someone's going to slag you off, and it won't be me. You fuck Everton fans. No,
go on, 15 seconds of ranting about Everton fans, please.
I could never limit it to 15.
No, it just takes too long.
I go so lost in the...
Yeah, we were talking about who we thought might take over of the Conservatives.
Do you still think Penny Mordaunt because she carried the sword well?
Oh, speaking of Penny Mordaunt, should we roll another clip?
Let's... Oh, is this the one I think it is?
Guys, I just want you for a moment to prepare yourselves for a speech.
Rousing, I think is the word.
It's rousing. It's inspiring.
Do me a favour, if this is the speech I think it is, when you've listened to it, pause the pod, take 10 deep breaths, because you're going to want to take to the streets. Yeah. You're going to want to pick up arms, take up arms, ironically.
You would have never felt more Tory in your life.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get on it.
Stand up and fight for the freedoms we have won. Against socialism, whether it is made of velvet or iron. Have courage and conviction, because when you do, you move our countrymen, our communities and capital of all kinds to our cause. Stand up and fight, because when you stand up and fight, the person beside you stands up and fights. And when our party stands up and fights, the nation stands up and fights. And when our nation stands up and fights, other nations stand up and fight. And they stand up and fight for the things upon which the entire progress of humanity depends. Freedom. That is what Conservatives do.
Yeah, it is.
She nearly went
That is what this nation does.
Should have been that what Penny
Have
do.
courage. Bring hope. Stand up and fight. Stand up and fight. Thank you, conference.
Fucking bro. What does that deserve?
Oh, a rippers.
God damn it. Where's the applause? I can't read.
You can't. Do you need?
Didn't have my glasses on.
I want to fight. I'm going to say it.
Honestly,
It's good. It's good.
the first time I heard it, I genuinely sat there and I was like, have you ever watched The Darkest Hour? It's the Winston Churchill, Gary Oldman film.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you get to see the speech in Parliament, the legendary
It ends
one.
with the speech, doesn't it? It builds up to the speech.
And it's this massive moment in the film. She saw that in her head, 100%. She stood there thinking, this is where I win the leadership race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's everything about it. The
Oh,
pause for applause,
It fell so flat, didn't it?
really flat. But everything's fallen flat
It
mostly
really has,
because the
apart from
conference has
Farage.
been empty.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who went down well.
Who?
Liz Truss. She
Did
did
she?
did a little speech in a room rather than at the main stage
Could you imagine a world?
where they re-elected her.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Where they had her
Oh,
as
my
leader again.
goodness.
Her in opposition questioning Sir Keir Starmer
know
on
what?
decisions.
I'm going to bring it full circle. I'm going to
You'd be
bring it
like,
back. I'm going to
Go
bring
on,
it. I'm
go
going
on,
to bring
Liz.
it back to the start. Okay. I think they should do it for the bands.
They absolutely should do it for the bands.
And we can't even, as a nation, we can't even be mad.
And you know what would happen? She'd get we'd get to the next election, and just before we get there, they kick her out and put Boris in, and he wins the election by a landslide.
I think we can't even be mad. It's as they
Dressed
do
as
it,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
they announce it on TV and radio, and as they do it, they just go, ha, bants. And I think we can't. We've just got to hold our hands up and go, do you know what? They've done us.
Honestly, I should be in political campaigning because I see a poster now with Boris in a leather jacket, in the full Terminator get-up, sunglasses, shotgun in one hand, pointing into a local community hall saying, "Get in the ballot box."
Told you he'd be back.
100%.
He told us even.
Boris, just give me a call, man.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Sure he will. I mean, he's not got a lot on at the moment.
No.
He might
I
as well.
bet he does. He'll be doing speeches.
Yeah, writing his book.
Yeah, his memoir, how
His
he was
book on.
screwed
Wasn't he
over.
going to write a book on Shakespeare?
Was he?
Yeah, wasn't that what he was meant to be doing when they were the first the first lot of Cobra meetings for the COVID stuff?
I thought he was on holiday.
And they were, well, he was on holiday for some of it, yeah. And then but then they were like, we need you to deal with all these issues. And he was like, the reports were that he just wanted to piss off to Chequers and write his Shakespeare book, even though he's meant to be running the country.
Well, it's the things we're talking about are the person who was running our country, and it's ridiculous. There was a moment on Twitter the other day where I saw a post about Sunak's not handing over his WhatsApp messages to the select committee, and his excuse was, "I got a new phone and didn't back it up."
Yeah.
And so people were like, and I'm like, it's obviously bollocks. But at the same time, this man doesn't know how to use a debit card. So it is sellable.
That was such a good clip, though, wasn't it?
It is sellable that he doesn't know how to back his phone
Him
up.
trying to pay for petrol.
Could you imagine someone with that amount of money, when he needs a new phone, the other one just goes in the bin?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't back it up. You'd be like, oh.
No.
So
I imagine when you've got that much money, whenever you end a phone call, you just sort of
everything
bin
comes
it
to
off.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the Penny Mordaunt one, I feel like she had a slight chance before that speech.
You think that's killed her speech? You heard that speech and you didn't hear the leader?
Sadly, I saw someone who's desperate to lead.
Do you know what, though?
But not someone
I wouldn't write her off because do you know what? She'll stand up and fight. She will stand up and
she
fight.
knows how to wield a sword.
And she does. She held that sword magnificently.
She fucking did, and she looked amazing while she did it.
I mean, I've seen, and I don't want to give too much away, but I've seen a lot of videos of women holding swords.
And not all of them have that level of grace.
Sometimes
and
there's
decorum.
clumsiness. Sometimes the moment overcomes them.
There's an elegance that some women have.
The restraint she showed, not to just. Also, I'm not being funny. If someone hands you a sword, would you not be a bit like, whoa?
Well, it'd be the same if someone handed me any.
Ching, ching.
I'm like that. Anyone hands me a stick. Like when I was younger, it was like a stick was a sword.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if someone hands you an actual sword,
Yeah.
you're going to have a little play with it.
I mean, obviously.
Naturally.
Yeah.
So I think the restraint that she
Right, what's the
showed,
name of the podcast? Of course we play with swords.
we crossed them
And play
with
them.
real
Vigour.
vigour. That's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah. And virility.
And she showed a great level of control
She did.
to just carry it.
Yeah.
Nothing more,
No, nothing
nothing
less.
less.
I bet you she played with it beforehand.
She
though.
didn't even joke when she got up close to, like, you know, oh. She didn't do any of it.
You can't though, can you?
I don't think you can. Who's gonna? What difference does it make? You're already there.
Well, that's the difference between becoming leader of the Conservatives and not, bro. How well and still you carry that sword.
Do you know what? I would, again, for the bands, I would not be against it if she launched a leadership campaign or if they made her leader and then during the entire general election campaign.
I've got the election campaign in my head. I told you I'm good at this. Do you know the Sean Bean, the winter is coming, he's holding the sword? Penny Morden dressed up exactly the same.
I don't know if you want to say
Penny
Penny is
is
coming. I don't know if that's the angle you want to go with. I feel like...
I just... When I saw the campaign poster, I didn't
It
think
looked so
of the
good. You were
phrase,
like, yes.
Penny is coming. Oh, that tickled my pickle, that did.
And it tickled hers too, apparently.
Oh,
But for the bands, I would not be against it if the entire campaign for
do
her.
you know what though? In all seriousness, because I don't want to.
Oh, no, okay. Well, if you're going to make a serious point, please let me just.
Okay,
if,
you
like
finish yours.
either for the leadership campaign or general election, every question she was asked, everything. You know, what are you going to reenact HS2? What are you going to do about levelling up north? How are you going to tackle poverty? If she just turned around and went, "Do you remember when I carried that sword?" And that was it for like the whole campaign.
I looked really good.
I wouldn't be an actor. I handled that sword well, didn't I? I'll tell you how I'd handle poverty, like I handled that sword.
I'd slay it.
I just steady,
Yeah,
you know, majestic,
yeah, elegantly.
and just that was it. Everything she was just like, I did the sword thing, didn't I?
I'm an elegant woman.
Yeah.
Get on board.
Have you ever carried a sword? She says to the interviewer. Like, yeah, it's not easy.
No, you try doing it.
Hours I did it.
Yeah.
Well, minutes. But yes, please get real. Be serious.
Out of all of them, she's probably the one I would object to the least, because I actually think she seems like a reasonable person from what I've seen of her, and she seems like she has some level of integrity despite the fact she has served in a Boris Johnson government.
I might be wrong, but I seem to have a memory of her.
Don't tell
Hasn't
me
she
she's
got?
like anti-trans or something.
Well, not yet, but I think she's got like a like a gay sister or something.
She doesn't talk
And in
about
her youth, or it might be a gay brother. No, and in her youth she was really supportive when she was coming up, and now she's like completely flipped and is kind of a bit anti. You know, would like wants to bring back.
What I hear there
So
is
it's
she's
like-
pretending to hate gays.
I think it is. To a certain extent.
Yeah,
I think she's playing up the
appealing to-
homophobia to
Yeah, which
appeal to
isn't
the
a good
audience.
trait in a politician, no, is it?
No, but
Or
I think
someone that can lead a party.
I think it settles us nicely into Suella.
Yes.
I think, and
Yeah.
and Rishi, but I think
We'll build up to the big dog.
the Suella thing. So also there was a moment, and I know you'll have seen it, the Andrew Boff thing.
Yeah, him being ejected.
And do you want to know what his crime was, what he did?
Tell,
he said.
tell us all, Joe.
I'll tell you all. So he he was sitting at the conference. He was like, halfway back. He wasn't anywhere near the front or anything, and it was an empty fucking conference hall anyway, so there's no one near anyone.
I did notice that he was sat quite comfortably sideways in his seat because there was plenty of room.
Yeah, there was no having to accommodate other guests.
No.
And she was banging on about, and she said about gender ideology,
Yeah.
and he responded with a bit of a tut, and he went, "There's no such thing as gender ideology," and he said it even more quietly than I have just said it.
Yeah, it was very much at most conversational level.
It was kind of just what you
Yeah.
just did there. She went, "There's no gender ideology," like
No,
that.
Slightly hushed tone.
And Jim, oh my God, I'm going to get his name wrong. No, it's John Sopel was there, a
Okay.
journalist, and he said he was sitting about 25 feet away from this guy. So he wasn't next to him, but he wasn't a million miles away. And he says, and I didn't hear it.
No.
I really didn't. I just saw him descend on him. And they were on it like a flash. This the party of free speech.
Yeah. And even as he was being carted off, he was very cordial. He wasn't getting irate or over the top from what I saw.
And for those who to put this into context, he is not just a guest at the Tory party conference. He is a gay
Yeah.
Tory London Assembly member.
Yeah.
And he was...
And he'd been a member of the party for, I can't remember how many years it was, but it was a very long time.
And he's ejected for basically not being right-wing enough.
Yeah.
I see it. You know, I know I'm making a few leaps there. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
For not being okay with what they're saying.
And Rishi again attacking... Why do you think trans people have become the new gay people?
I think it's one of the things people are most uncomfortable with in our society at the moment. I don't think people understand it. I think that makes them uncomfortable. I don't think people know how to talk to their children about it. Because it wasn't I'm sure there were trans people around when we were younger, but we didn't know about it. Or
Trans people have been around for millennia.
Oh, I'm sure they have, but it's never been something until recently that we've been actually dealing with as a society. And I think it's for whatever reason, it's an issue people seem to have. I think we've got gay people, and gay people are fine. Do you know what I mean? We've done
But that's
that
the thing. Do you think
recently.
it's just like, now it's no longer acceptable to turn it on them?
We find someone
We've
else.
got to go someone else.
Yeah. I think it just I think in a lot of ways it makes people uncomfortable. And I don't agree with them, like, because me, you and Andrew, we were talking about sort of jovially, like the toilet issue, that how people feel uncomfortable. But I can understand why someone would feel that way. I don't necessarily agree
The
with
only
it.
people who can have issue
but
with
I
it
can
are the
understand that.
Americans, because you people have no privacy in your public toilets. I've said it
I've
before
seen
and
the
I'll say it
photos
again.
from you
It's
and
ridiculous.
Ash.
Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, you might as well just not have any sides.
Honestly, you
just
might
all be sat in a row on toilets.
you might as well just invite everyone in to watch you piss and shit.
Yeah.
There's no difference. But what I was going to say is, you know, you talk about, and you're right, there was less kind of awareness, but I think part of the awareness now is quite a negative awareness.
Yeah.
But I think I remember, and I do remember it, I'm not just saying this because I'm like retrospectively going, oh yeah, like I remember when, I don't remember her surname, it's definitely available and it's easily available, and a better man would have Googled it in the short time that I'm talking. But I remember Nadia winning Big Brother.
Yeah.
And she was, there was headlines everywhere about her being the first transsexual winner.
That wasn't the person who put a bottle where they shouldn't.
Yes, it was.
Okay, yeah.
And do you want to know, like, the British reaction was, there was no fear.
No.
There were some people that, but generally speaking, there was no fear, there was no hatred, and from the media, there was no fear, there was no hatred. She won, for fuck's sake. She won a public vote.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like these people have only just
No, well, I don't
jumped
think,
into the limelight.
I don't think it's the majority of people who have an issue with trans. I think most people, and it's interesting actually, there's a clip from a Tory MP that I came across and I wanted to play, and I wanted to see what you thought about it, because they were asked about their
You're
thoughts
quite
on...
vocal and public about your identity as a bisexual woman.
Yes.
How do you feel about the semantics or the attitude of some of your fellow MPs towards LGBT people, particularly trans people?
It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. There's no other way to put it. I'd say that to their faces if we were discussing it in person. The entire LGBT community has faced a really difficult history and so much adversity over the years. In some ways, I feel really lucky that I had a really positive reception to coming out, when if you went back 20 years, others wouldn't have. They'd have had a vitriolic reception in Parliament, but across the country as well. We've still got a long way to go. And I think with the trans community, been quite devastated to see the recent polling come out that shows that the public's kind of attitude towards the trans community is going backwards. I think one of the problems there is that these debates around single-sex spaces, about trans participation in sport, get so inflamed by both sides, I have to say. People on each side are really passionate, but then you miss all of the people in the middle who want to take a really sensible approach. And I think that's most people. Most people don't really care how other people live. They want people to be free to live and love however they like, as long as it's not like negatively impacting them and their lives. I think that's the attitude of most people in this country. We are such a brilliantly tolerant country. But on the trans debate, we just need to be sensible. We need to take the heat out of that debate in Parliament and across society. And, you know, certain comments that I know are the ones you're referring to absolutely do not help.
What did you think?
It's really nice to hear, but I got so distracted by the fucking bell toller in the background, whatever the fuck was going on with that guy, like halfway through this. Do you remember that time when you made a really impassioned speech? I think it was on the monarchy.
Yeah.
And I undermined it by eating biscuits the whole time.
I think you did.
It's
quite on brand.
It's sort of like that, because I genuinely, for half of that, I was really battling to listen to what she was saying, because all I could hear was, all right, ding, 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 bah, bah, bah.
I think that might be the ADHD though.
I don't know. You're not telling me you didn't.
No, I was listening to what she was saying.
Yeah, you're telling me no part of you heard that.
I heard the bell, but I was able to disregard it to listen to what we were listening to.
Not just the bell, the bloke as well. Being like, all right, all right.
To be honest with you, I only really acknowledged it after you mentioned it. I went, oh yeah, there was a guy yelling in the background.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So.
Well, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it might not be.
I'll take it. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing again, because I think it's one of those debates, a little bit like immigration. Well, a lot like immigration, in the sense that I think the media, it's a story that the media seem keen to put everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a story that gets a lot of whipped up hate online. But actually in the street, most people are not only, they're just not talking about it.
No.
And when they do talk about it, they don't hold those views. They don't hold those hateful views. They might not be like overly supportive, like I'm.
No, but they wouldn't be prejudiced
like
against these
I consider
people.
myself to be like, you know, I would go the extra, maybe not go the extra step, but for LGBT people, for immigrants, you know, I really want to integrate and help, and they might not want to go that far, but I think most people in the street are quite okay with it.
I think most people don't
tolerant.
Really care
I think she said it.
Yeah,
it's a tolerant.
I don't
nation.
think most people really care I think most people are too busy living their day-to-day lives to really know enough or care enough about most things that are going on, and I think that goes for all things, whether it's being gay, trans, whatever it might be. But I think there is enough people that are either ill-informed, prejudiced, or ignorant, or just confused, that can be turned against these people. I mean,
one of the things that's been whipped up from the trans debate, and I used the term quite loathingly almost, because it's like, it's not a debate, because it's not what it's become.
There's been times where I've gone to call it the transition. It's like, well, they're not an issue. I don't want to call it.
It's not become a debate on, you know, what started out as a debate on the use of single-sex spaces.
Yeah, and
as I guess she's alluding to, could have been quite a sensible, nuanced discussion where both sides laid legitimate, what I would call legitimate claims, and arguments, has become. It's gone from being a debate about an issue, and we're now debating the existence and the human rights of a minority group.
Yeah, there's a weird disconnect between like the actual. We can understand to a degree that someone feels that way, but like the main issue for a lot of people, I seem to see online, is that if you expose your children to trans people, that it might mean.
But it's so funny, isn't
trans,
it?
But for them to become trans because they've been exposed to someone who is trans, that's only going to be because that was in them to begin with, and they've seen the thing.
Now,
do you know what I mean?
This is our customary go back and listen to older episodes. Yeah. So we've talked about this before, and we've spoken about the fact that it is a recycled narrative that was labelled against gay men in particular, and it does seem to be gay men and trans women that take the heat.
You need the exposure to be honest with you, because otherwise people that might not otherwise know they were trans, it might manifest in very negative ways.
It's the same as being a gay man in the 70s.
Repressed and maybe even
depressive
out.
And suicidal.
Yeah. So
but it's like being a gay man in the 70s. It's like
I'd like to think, and it's a very naive hope, that the majority of it is just a level of discomfort. Thank you. That's a much easier word.
I wanted
was
to watch you struggle.
Uncomfortability, but that's not actually a word.
I wanted to watch you struggle a little bit, but I did want to.
But yeah, less difficult, or more discomfort.
We're talking about unity here, so I felt like I had to reach out and.
I appreciate it. I was struggling.
I saw.
I was drowning. I was like, wow, I'm not getting my tongue around this at all.
It's not a problem you usually struggle with.
I couldn't say the word either.
what I like.
Yeah.
But we said, listen, we spoke about it before, and we spoke about how these things, people going, oh, I don't mind it, but I wish they wouldn't do it in my face, and don't show me kids. And they're groomers. They're making our kids this way. And we, as you said, and as we've said before, no, they're not making your kids gay. Your kid was gay, and they suddenly...
They've met a gay person and made them go, shit, that's what I'm feeling
And
inside.
also, by normalising it, it makes them go, oh, it's okay to be... I don't have to repress that.
Now, look, I still think outside of that, there's a lot of things society has to like get comfortable with. We need to know more. So, like, kids transitioning is a very hot button issue. I don't know the rights and wrongs of it. It makes me feel uncomfortable, if I'm being honest, but I don't know enough. So that's me just being honest.
But again, there's that's the problem. We're not having a debate about a discussion about those issues and the specifics of transitioning. We're debating the exist because, and I'll tell you this,
we're just debating the idea of it
because Rishi Sunak in his speech said the phrase, you know, we shouldn't be bullied into this.
Well,
I can't remember what
shall I
phrase
play that bit?
Have you got it?
I've got it.
Yeah, better than me.
I feel like
podging it.
I've come with the clips today. I didn't realise I had quite so many. I hope the listeners
change
don't
this country, and that means
start from the beginning.
We are going to change this country, and that means life means life. Now, that shouldn't be a controversial position. The vast majority of hard-working people agree with it. And it also shouldn't be controversial for parents to know what their children are being taught in school about relationships. Patients should know when hospitals are talking about men or women. And we shouldn't get bullied. And we shouldn't get bullied into believing that people can be any sex they want to be. They can't. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's just common sense.
Is there more, or is that it? Because I'd like a rant when this is done.
Absolutely.
If I may.
You may.
We should also never be afraid to talk about the thing that matters most to most of us. Family. Whenever you want to talk about family, someone whispers, "Is that wise, Prime Minister?" You'll be accused of promoting a one-size-fits-all view. But in this Conservative Party, the party that legislated for same-sex marriage and is investing record amounts in childcare, we know that what matters is that love cascades down the generations.
May I?
Please.
First of all, patients talking about knowing whether people are talking about men or women. Trans men are men, trans women are women. If they're talking about a man, be it a cis man or a trans man, they're talking about a man. If they're talking about a woman, be it a cis woman or a trans woman, they're talking about a woman. There is no controversy. Second of all, because he immediately moves on to the trans issue and the attack on trans people, it gets lost a little bit there, I worry. But talking about worrying what your children are being taught about relationships, that's, what is it, Section 28?
Section 28?
Is it Section 28? I mean, I know it, and we've talked about it on the pod. Do you remember the thing where they banned the teaching of any homosexual relationships in schools?
Oh, did they? When was this?
In the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Tory party.
Sorry, for a second I was like, what
and
have
it was
I missed?
repealed. And it was repealed, quite rightfully so. But there's a lot of people that want to go back to it, and that sounds like they want to go back to it. That is not talking about trans people, that's talking about gay people.
Do you think they actually believe in it? Like, do you think Rishi Sunak believes a word that just came out of his mouth?
Also,
I'm not. Look, that's not as
let's
to
address
excuse
it.
them
Like
in
we
any
said,
way.
What started out as a debate, a discussion about single-sex spaces, he has now said the phrase, you know, we will not be bullied into letting people think that a man, you know, that you can be any sex. A man is a man and a woman is a woman.
People. The Prime Minister of our nation has targeted people under
He's
his care.
full out called it a minority group that are already suffering enough, that already get targeted enough, that already have it rough enough living, are now being actively are having a target actively put on their back
by their own
by
government.
the leader of the country.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It is. Like,
utterly
if you
ridiculous.
take the actual, like, if you're against trans people, take that bit out of it, that the government of our country is targeting people under
from a
its
minority
own care
group
and responsibility
from a
that are a
minority
minority
group.
group. Yeah, like, if it was black people, we wouldn't be okay with it. Do you know what I mean?
If it was gay people, or even at the point
Yeah.
now where if it was gay people, but that's coming back. And I've said it before, and we've said it before. Once they've got rid of trans
Yeah.
people, they're not going to stop there. They're going to move on to gay people. They will come for you.
And the only thing that does worry me with this stuff is with the people out there that listen to that, and we've talked about people we've seen that agree with that statement, that are raising children, and makes me sick, to be honest. And I pray to God their kid
Doesn't come out gay
doesn't come out
or
gay
trans.
or anywhere in the LGBTQ plus spectrum for their sake.
100%. And you've hit the nail on the head. There's people that we've spoken to, or that we know and know of,
Yeah.
even if we don't know them personally, who have these views, who are, like you said, raising children.
Yeah.
The idea that these kids, the life that they might lead because of who they are.
Yeah.
But you
And
know what?
what
Part of
makes
me
it
wonders
worse
whether
for
these
me
people would raise.
is these opinions come from very rarely personal experience.
Yeah.
Like, these people haven't run into trans people and had a horrible
They make up less than
experience
1%
or-
of the population.
Yeah, like, they're not having a day-to-day experience where these people are affecting their lives in any way whatsoever, let alone in a negative one. It all comes from the mouthpieces they listen to or read or however they ingest their information. And I don't think that necessarily makes them terrible people. It does in a way, but I don't know. I always think it comes back to ignorance and being misinformed. If these people actually met people that were trans or anyone in the LGBTQ plus community, they would be completely fine with them, most likely.
I mean, imagine how it would feel if you were gay and you were sat there with your family watching telly one evening and a gay couple appeared and your mum or your dad or both absolutely went off on a rant about how disgusting it
turn
is
the
and
television
fucking
over
stupid and this country's
Or
gone to the dogs because
You're
you can't
sat
let...
here today with your parents, they're watching the news this evening, and you hear that Rishi Sunak speech.
And you've
and
been
your
struggling
parents
with
going,
your...
Here.
You've been struggling
fucking
with your
right on.
identity, with your gender
Yeah.
identity. You know in yourself, you're starting to know that you
Yeah.
feel wrong, that this is not
Yeah.
right. And yeah, and your parents
But even
go...
without the parents,
First
just
thing they've
hearing
said,
that from
first
the
thing they've
leader of your
said-
country.
But if they said, first thing they've ever said that makes sense, you immediately know that you have now got a choice. And it is a horrible choice to be in, where you can either live your authentic life
Yeah,
or lose your family.
yeah.
And in that one moment, in that one revealing moment,
You
that
get
is
told
the,
where
that
your
is the
place
choice
is.
that you have. That
Yeah.
is the choice that you have. Yourself or your family. Because you've just been told by your family that you can't have both. Now, the reality is you might come out and it might be an awakening moment for them.
Yeah.
And you might get to have both. But that weight,
But it
that
puts them in
pressure on a
position where
person,
they don't know.
particularly on young people, but on anyone, is horrible.
Yeah.
You couldn't imagine it. Imagine if that was your kid.
No, and for me, what the Conservatives have done today has very much crossed a line. Like, there's one
It's an open
thing-
attack on the LGBT community. It is.
That's exactly what it is. And I don't mind people having concerns about, like I said, I've got my own things I'm uncomfortable with when it comes to,
And I've told you
Trans
I will try
people.
not... Oh, no, the other thing. No.
but it's about basic human decency and
They're
human
humans. They're
rights.
human beings. They
Yeah.
just want to be treated like humans. They just want
and
to
they
be
don't
able,
deserve to have their Prime Minister go on television and speak about them like
They
that.
just want to live their lives, have access to healthcare,
Or their Home Secretary.
and you know, enjoy their lives. But if that means playing a bit of sport,
Because the thing is, you hear what he said and then what Suella said. Suella's in charge of the police. What if she decided to start actually enacting policies where the police could start...
gender checking in
Yeah.
toilets, for example,
Yeah.
or sex checking, yeah.
And we're not like that sounds like a conspiracy thing, but we're not really that far from that.
I know that I often get... I don't know. I'm not going to say accused. I know that between the two of us, your ideals are always slightly more malleable, open.
Yeah.
That you're always willing to see.
Do you know
And
what-
I'm firmer.
Do you know what that genuinely comes from? I don't think I'm that intelligent. I think I'm
I
reasonably
don't think
intelligent.
that's where it comes from.
No, it's a level of self-deprecation in the sense of, like, I don't think I know enough about anything to be able to say,
For sure.
this is where I stand on it. So if I can quite often fluctuate on certain things because I'll hear one thing and I'm like, oh no, that's that's reasonable. And then I'll hear something else, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that.
Yeah. I mean, I've changed my mind in the past.
Yeah.
But definitely I know that I have these more rigid and firm beliefs and ideals, but there's no way, you know, I'll listen to a few arguments on stuff and I might still come out and go, nah, you're talking tosh. I'm not even going to entertain the argument if anyone says this is anything other than an open attack on the LGBT community.
No, it's exactly
because that's
and
all it is.
And what makes it worse is it's... And not that it would make
like I
it
said,
better
even
that
sneaking
they
in that
actually
thing
believe
about
in it.
relationships, what your kids are learning about relationships, even that is just sneaking in a little bit of homophobia.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty fucked.
Scary.
Yeah.
And what's interesting as well...
And it's only going to get worse between now and the next... We don't even know when the next election
So
is
for me,
yet.
I actually put a bet on last year that we'd have an election this year, and I'm still think that there might be. I don't think... There probably won't, but there might.
I don't think we've heard enough policy from the Conservatives to know.
What I will say
happen.
is that this has been a spectacular conference for the Labour Party.
Yeah.
And I, for one, cannot wait to see, because it's a very unique skill that only Sir Keir possesses, in my opinion.
How he fucks it up.
How he puts the ball into his own net from this position.
Yeah, whenever the next PMQs is, how he manages to...
This is like...
if the next... PMQs, or like for me, Sir Keir Starmer should already be on television saying this is fucking disgusting.
In footballing
terms,
if the Labour Party and the Conservative Party are two teams and their star striker are the leaders, Keir and Rishi, I think this is one of those horrendous back pass moments. The goalie and the defender have been all at sea. The goalie's come out. The defender's played it back to the middle of the goal. It's just rolling gently towards the goal, and suddenly Keir Starmer's found himself. Hello.
He's stopped the ball.
I've got
on
a
the
4
line.
yard.
He's getting down on his knees.
Not only is he not going to score this, I feel like there's a good chance the ball's going to go in his own net. And from that position, if you did one of those, pause it, what happens next? It's a real skill. And I do believe that Keir Starmer has shown us that he possesses it.
If he takes this and doesn't do anything except just smack the shit out of the Tories with it, then...
If he comes out and just goes, yeah, fuck the gays, Rishi was right, then...
That sounds very on brand for Sir Keir.
It does, but first he'd have to do a speech telling us how much he loved them and how he was going to support them.
What
and
I
then a
could
week
see
later,
is him condemning it, and then when the Conservatives do try and introduce legislation for identity checks at toilets,
I've got to Google
he would vote for it.
100%. I've got to Google whether it's Section 28 because that's going to really wind me up. And it's just this amount. You can pad here, by the way.
I didn't want a pad, to be honest with you. I thought about padding. I considered it for a moment, and I decided not to.
Prohibited the promotion of homosexuality by local authorities, introduced by Margaret Thatcher and the Tories, and was in effect from 1988 to the year 2000.
Yeah, so although they are the party that legislated for same-sex marriage, they
back.
also banned gays.
In 2000, it was repealed in Scotland. It was in 2003.
Oh, you know what I meant?
6 years into...
Freedom!
6 years into Labour's reign till they repealed it in the England and Wales.
Yeah.
Even that's not good. But
No,
it's
it's
very
not.
on brand for how the Labour Party is at the moment. Tory light. I mean, again, I know I sound really...
No, look, as bad as...
left-wing...
Things can't get much worse with Labour in charge. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much damage they could really do. Literally, even turning things slightly in the other direction will be a massive improvement because we've not seen any improvement in any area for a very long time now. But it's also very sad to look at the opposition and go, I'm not particularly excited about what's going to happen there either. Because Rishi, one thing he did say in his speech was, you don't know what you're going to get from Sir Keir Starmer. He's absolutely spot on.
But I know what I'm going to get from Rishi.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Bigotry.
And also the thing as well with the media about the trans thing is that I seem to remember last year in the summer, might have been this summer, I have a real sense, I really struggle with my sense of time.
Yeah, my mum asked me when the last lockdown was yesterday, and I still don't know when it was. I tried Googling it and I still don't know when it was.
I think it was January 2021.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So, anyway, so there's been a few rallies of the anti-trans movement.
Okay.
And they're not that big. They're not that popular. But then at this, like a week later, there was a trans march in two, in fact, a couple of weeks apart. One in London, one in Brighton,
Okay.
and they were huge. Like there was a huge turnout.
Yeah.
No coverage. I came across it through like social media, and you see the pictures, like the the aerial shots of it,
And it's
versus
huge.
the aerial shots of these anti-trans rallies. You're like, Jesus, yes, it's enormous.
The problem is when,
No coverage though.
like, the ironic thing about what Priti Patel said about, like, being anti-mainstream media, it's like, well, for the last 13 years, love, you guys have been shacked up with mainstream media, and you still are. Do you know what I mean? Like, GB News is 100% mainstream. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch.
The only problem with GB News is I feel it's one of those that
It's not mainstream
it's a
because
bit-
it's not popular.
it's a bit Nigel Farage. That in many ways they're like, we like the Tories and we promote the Tories and we hire the Tories, by the
Yeah.
way, but we don't think the Tories are right wing enough. We don't think they go far enough into their bigotry and into their
Yeah.
hatred of certain groups of people. It's despicable. I can't believe what I've heard, and at the same time, I can believe what I've heard.
I did not expect it at all, to be honest with you. I don't know what I expected from the Tory conference, but I didn't expect this.
Sunday to
I
Tuesday.
didn't expect them to just go, all right, so trans is what we're going to go for.
Sunday to Tuesday, I was having a bit of a laugh at it all. In all
Yeah.
honesty, I mean,
And then it's taken
Suella
a
Braverman
very
took
sinister turn.
stood on the tail of a guide dog.
I saw.
It was brilliant.
I felt so bad for
The whole
dog.
time, I don't know if you've ever seen any of it, and I've started watching it, so I've not seen like swathes of it, but I've always seen clips of the thick of it.
Yeah, I watched some of that.
Yeah, it's so what it is now.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I think that is what
can't
politics
believe-
is. Yeah, one of the things I heard a journalist talking about recently was one of the things that's changed massively in politics is the exposure. And it was because when Boris particularly got really into mainstream politics, like when he was starting to angle in to become Prime Minister, and then when he did, is he kept himself leaking information to the news. So it means we know more now about what politicians do on a day-to-day basis than we ever have.
Yeah, but also I think with it, the thick of it, the incompetency of the ministers that they portray is hammed up for comedic effect.
But it's completely
It's not now.
accurate.
It's just legitimate. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like if you look at someone like Matt Hancock, like he's the epitome of one of these. Like, there's nothing credible about that man whatsoever, but for some reason he's held some of the largest and most powerful offices in this country.
Yeah, no, but listen, Monday to Tuesday, genuinely, I was having a bit of a laugh with it. I thought this is hilarious, and then today it's really swiped out from under. Wednesday really knocked it out from under me because I really suddenly felt like
it takes a shine off of the hilarity of
we are now
how much of a mess they are.
We are now at a crossroads, and I want to say I've said it on my Twitter, which got probably if I check it now, it's probably got a like from a cam girl, sex bot. But I always say this now to all of my LGBT listeners and non-listeners, to all future fans, to all people who dislike us.
Yeah.
And in particular to all the trans people who either listen or have listened and don't like it.
And the Russell Brown fans?
Not them.
Okay. I tried, guys.
To all of them, I stand with you.
100%.
I will fight where I can with you, because this is no longer a thing that we can. I don't think this is no longer a thing that you can ignore.
No.
They are now being directly attacked by the Prime Minister of the country. We cannot pretend that this is not okay,
happening.
and or even that it's at a level where we can go, no,
It's
this is
all
not.
right.
We need to challenge it now. I stand with you, and this podcast is a safe space. And if you ever want to just listen in, whether you want to write in or get in touch with us on any of the socials,
give us your story.
You can do it, because this is a safe space for you.
Yeah.
We are with you 100%, and we will beat this evil. I know we're going backwards now, but gay people fought a big fight, particularly gay men, in the 80s and in the 90s, and have come a long way. There's still a much further way to go, but we will continue to keep fighting that. And now it's, like I said, particularly the trans people, now it's your turn, and we will fight to get you some fucking human decency.
Yeah, and I think I tend to subscribe to, it might sound a bit trite, is that it's always darkest before the dawn. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. But I think we crossed the line today, and I agree with you completely that we need to do more. We need to be more aware, and when we see it, we're going to have to start calling it out.
I think as well, we can no longer stand, we stand behind them. We can no longer stand behind them.
Beside them.
We can't. I don't even think we can stand beside them. After today's attack, we need to stand in front of them. We need to protect them. We need to be out there leading the fight, because this is an out-and-out call against LGBT people. And it's not on. And thank you for letting me make a serious point and not eating and undermining it.
I undermined it slightly. I had to have a little, because I rarely get to have a rant without you having a little, do you know what I mean, like a little poke. So I chucked in the Russell Brand bit.
Let you do it. I mean, listen, the Russell Brand fans know exactly what they think of me.
And what
they don't
you
even
think
know
of
me.
them.
They don't even know who I am.
No, as a fact they keep repeating. Who the fuck is that guy?
And yet they're giving us views.
Yeah, I love that.
Thanks, guys.
That is the hilarious part of it, that they're actually improving things for us with their hatred.
Yeah, they're actually helping the algorithms.
Yeah.
Because the comments help.
They do.
And the views help.
So retention helps. And also, the more people that see it, the more it gets... so the more people keep watching it, because the things, the views are slowly just continuously. We're currently over the 6K mark on your video. Mine stayed exactly where it was. It's on like 2 point something.
That's because you were talking truth and people didn't get angry with you.
No.
But me, they got...
Yeah, because you're part of the mainstream
they got irate.
Tofu eating karate, bro.
A real nerve with some of them.
Yeah.
A real nerve.
Yeah. The fact, and the thing
I haven't been back on it for a week.
It isn't just the comments. If you go into it, look at how many likes the comments have as well.
Oh yeah, people are supporting
the 50 to 60 plus likes on loads of the comments of just saying, who is this? Who is Jake?
You're part of the mainstream. Sorry, you're blind, or whatever one of them said.
And I just chuckle every time.
I haven't been back and watched him, but genuinely, for the first few days, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
With the comment section of that video.
Yeah, there's like over 50 comments now. And I know that, like, to anyone who's got any success in YouTube, like 50 on time, but for us, that is fucking.
That's big engagement.
That's batshit.
That's big engagement. I'll be honest, it's a bit of a bittersweet thing
100%.
Because it's big engagement. It's all negative towards me.
No, but I feel like
I do not come off well in that comment section. I do enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. There is a bit of me that's quite happy with it.
Just think of who you're pissing off, and
I sort of feel that way. Because as well, it's like they're so polarised that if they actually gave me a chance, gave us a chance and listened to the episode, but they'd hear that actually there are lots of ideas about the mainstream media that I agree with them.
Yeah.
But just not that one.
No.
It's good though.
Yeah.
It's good.
But guys, thank you very, very much for all the likes, the subscribing you've been doing, the commenting. Please keep that going. Like, literally, it makes such a difference.
And I would make a request of you all.
Oh.
I'm going to do it.
Do it.
Take a second, more than a second. Take a minute.
Seconds.
Take a minute.
A minute?
A minute's a long time. Take a few seconds.
30 seconds.
And think about the most handsome man that you can think of. Famous man. But like really famous.
Oh, no, you're more famous than me.
Really
now.
famous.
Or infamous.
Infamous. Infamy, they've all got it infamy. And I feel like that really does apply for me.
You should call yourself Jake the Infamous on Twitter.
The infamous baddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the infamous OG.
Or Neo.
Neo, yeah.
No, because
Neo's kind of unplugged. It's kind of the point in Neo.
So I'm Neo, is what you're saying.
I'm Agent Smith, I think.
Or you could be Trinity.
I do look good in a leather catsuit, and I have been dying to get that out. How often have I said when we're planning a pod, should I wear the catsuit? Should I wear the catsuit? And you always say,
this time.
Not this.
The episode. Do you know what we should? We should sit and watch as like a retro thing, the Halle Berry Catwoman film, and then you can review it dressed in full regalia.
Honestly, if I had the effort or the money to go and buy a catsuit.
That was almost Barack Obama. If I had the
effort or the money.
And the money.
I 100% would do that.
Yeah.
And you know I would, I think.
I know you would. And you know what? I'd still sit and do the pod. I'd still be dressed like this. Yeah. I'd be no different.
And I would say almost immediately be thinking, leather's not for me. This is uncomfortable. I
Be a
can't
lot of
sit
baby
right.
powder.
And there'd be like a lot of as I shift around.
I'd basically have to have my hand on the dial of your mic, so whenever you move,
I'll
I
be
can
honest, I
quickly-
was very worried about where your hand was going then.
Where was it
Well,
going?
I just heard I'm going to have my hand on. I'm sat here dressed in leather. I don't know where that's going.
I mean, my hand's obviously going to be on my sword, bro.
What about my sword?
Like Penny's sword.
Because someone's going to have to handle my sword. Because if I'm tied up in a catsuit, I don't have the mobility.
I think my final message...
Oh no, I
For
didn't
the-
finish my request.
Oh, sorry, please.
Think of the most handsome man you can think of. Go to the comments in the video. Go to YouTube. Search Crossing Swords podcast, or just follow the link in the description and comment on the video and say, doesn't Jake look like? And then say the name of the most handsome man you can think of.
Or just say who you think Jake looks like, whether it's Gary Neville.
No, I think you should pick the
Um,
handsome man thing. I don't think we should get bogged down with who I actually look like.
No,
think you
I
should
want to
pick the
know
hand-
who
No, I
the people
don't- I
think you
don't.
actually look like.
I don't think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. No, I'm not going to say anything because it will sway the votes.
Okay.
So I don't want to. I don't want to interfere.
It's not Hugh Jackman.
I mean, come on.
Plus, he's single and on the market now. You got no chance.
Is he?
Yeah, they've separated.
Oh, bro, that's not the news I wanted to end on.
I know, it's desperately sad. Is that better?
Him and
Is that
Debbie,
what-
isn't it?
Him and Deb. Yeah.
Oh,
Apparently, they've just decided it's time.
do you think she's ready to date again yet?
I mean, I hope he is.
I would date either of them. I would
Yeah.
date both of them, and I would treat them.
That would be a weird
I'd treat
throuple.
them right. It'd be weird.
Yeah, he's got kids.
I think I could pull it off. Yeah, I'm not dating the kids.
Wouldn't put it past you. But the message I'd like for us to end on really is that Penny is coming.
That's the message.
That's the
Nothing about
message.
the LGBT
I wish
community.
I was good at editing because there would be
A picture.
a picture of Penny Mordaunt's face on the Eddard Stark meme holding a sword with just Penny is coming as the...
Someone might have done
as
it.
the
Someone might have
thumbnail.
made that picture, and then you just have to add the caption.
No, but I'm not Googling Penny is coming.
No,
Images.
You got like Penny Mordaunt, Game of Thrones.
Penny is coming.
Okay, look, your video history is going to be very, very
Yeah.
stacked.
But guys, if you think I should start a new career in political propaganda, let us know. If you think we're wrong on anything we've said, please let us know. Let us know what you thought of Rishi and Suella's behaviour.
Also, I tell you what I'd like to know.
Mm.
If you dislike trans people,
Yeah. Tell us why.
tell us why. Tell us
Yeah.
why you don't think. And it's not about, because like I said, this has gone beyond single sex spaces. This has gone. Don't tell us about the discussion about the use of single sex spaces or the use of or the inclusion of trans people in sport. 'Cause it's gone beyond that.
Yeah.
Tell us why you don't think. Why you think it's okay for Rishi to say what he said, for Suella to say what she said.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I'd be interested to hear that. Jake, tell the people where they can do that.
You can do that from your own bedroom nowadays, thanks to the use of the internet. You can
You can do it
that.
anywhere
You can do it anywhere. Except,
with an internet connection.
I mean,
it
I've
is.
been some places, where you can't get good connection.
Yeah. That
Um,
happens in case.
the like far west wing of our house
Yeah.
is ropey.
But then they're adding in the new boosters and stuff to get full coverage, aren't they? So you're not.
Yeah,
far off.
we're currently in the midst of battling about health and safety because we want them up in the corners. Apparently, the
Yeah.
ladders are too high,
Yeah.
and we're not allowed to send the butler up there. We'll get it done.
Semantics.
Look, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give him some climbing.
If it weren't for
spikes.
Brexit, we'd already have some foreigners that we could just chuck on it. But fucking British Labour, they want protections. We don't like it.
Yeah.
But they can do it. I genuinely forgot what I was doing for a second. They can do it at CrossingSwords_podcast on Instagram and on TikTok. You should go
Yeah.
and check us out on TikTok. We're hot shit on TikTok. I've said it before, but we are hot shit on
We are
TikTok.
hot shit on TikTok.
You can do that at Swords Crossing on Twitter.
Yep.
Which everyone knows is my space for ranting.
Yep.
Also, if you just want to go on Twitter and, if you're lonely and you're looking for singles in your area, it's a great place for it right now.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
There's a
It's
lot
great
of
place
sex
for it.
bots.
There's a lot of sex bots. And
Yeah.
not the cool, futuristic kind that you're thinking of.
No, they're really sad.
Just
lonely,
really
gonna
sad
rip
Twitter
you off
signs.
kind of
Yeah,
way,
they're just going to take your credit card details.
and run.
Yeah. Not that we know from experience.
No, never.
No, but we've heard.
From a friend of a friend.
A friend of a friend. A friend. It's always a friend. It's always
Not a friend in this room.
It's
Just
the same
someone
friend.
else.
It's the same friend every time.
Yeah.
That bloody friend. What a life they live.
Poor Alex. And I think...
Do you know what beautiful? Because he's never going to listen.
No. So I would love it now if we get an abusive message.
From Alex or from anyone?
From Alex.
From Alex.
Yeah. Although knowing Alex, he'd probably apologise if he upset us in some way to make us say it.
I just don't think it's something we're going to have to worry about.
No. All right. Guys, see you soon.
Bye.